Jonathan said we could go ahead since Paulette is online.
Right. Hello, everyone. Good evening. We're ready? We're not ready. I take all that back.
Right.
The list still counts. What do you need?
You ready?
Oh, we have another one.
Oh, you
Online.
got somebody
You're
online.
online.
There's five at the bottom of the way.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to tonight's meeting of the Oakland Mills Community Association Village Board. We are going to start off with our two usual administrative items. The first being approval of the minutes from our October 14th, 2025 board meeting. I'll take the raised hand as a motion to approve. Is there a second? I'll take Dr. Dan as a second. All in favor of approving? Oh, I'm sorry, first, any discussion of those minutes? I should ask. Okay, all in favor of approving? Paulette's raising her hand for like the 15th time. Just do it.
Give us a.
Okay. 4-0-0. Okay, next up is approval of the agenda for tonight's board meeting. Is there a motion to approve? I'll take that from Andrew. I'll take a second from Dr. Dan. Any discussion of tonight's agenda? Okay, all in favor of approving? 1, 2, 3.
Yes, in favor.
Okay, next we have resident remarks. Any resident wishing to make remarks may do so now. I'll call you in the order you're listed on the sheet or raising your hand online. We don't have any residents online, so I'm going to call on Paul. And he's been here many times. He knows 3 minutes.
Yes, I do, having been on the other side of the desk. I'm here in support of the Village in Howard's request for a donation. Oakland Mills have been really good to us over the years, and I think we've reciprocated very, very much over the years by helping out residents, including myself in Oakland Mills. I mean, we have what is called a naturally occurring retirement community. I mean, we have a whole, if you look at the census, we have a very large number of folks that are retired and are, I hate the euphemism, aging in place. Feels like we're stuck. I don't feel like I'm stuck. But I would ask you to support our request. In effect, what we do, because we rent, money comes back to Oakland Mills. I mean, really within the village. So thank you very much. Hope you support it.
Thank you, Paul. Okay, was there anyone else who didn't sign up?
Well, I didn't actually sign up to speak.
That's
but
okay.
may
Would you
I?
like to speak? Of
Yeah.
course.
Okay, my name is Kathy Latham. I lived in Oakland Mills for almost 50 years, maybe even more, but I'm not gonna count that. And I belonged to the Village in Howard, which we call TVIH, for a little over 5 years. And, I kind of didn't know what it was all about, but it really is about, making friends and having activities and going places and doing things and learning things and having speakers come in and talk to us about all kinds of topics. And, with the Stevens Forest Neighborhood Center where our office is right now. And, so, I know several people from Oakland Mills who belong and all other villages in Howard as well as all of Howard County. So, it has kept me, busy, active, happy, and, making new friends. So thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else?
I'm not speaking. I'm just going to listen to what you're
Lynn,
doing.
Lynn, you just spoke. You just spoke. You always have something to say.
Or chair for TBI.
You're, well, actually, you, in a way you are because you conduct business here.
Well, I live here, Ralph. Nice to be here this evening. I'm also board chair at Town Center, so it's really nice to see another board meeting be run beside mine. So yeah, and we did put forth a proposal. I believe you made your decision already for what you would want to be. You haven't. Okay,
We've decided the
the folks that are.
the gross amount we're handing out, but we haven't decided how we're going to distribute it to each requester.
I was under the impression that I made the decision, but that's good. So, I don't know how many of you know about the Village in Howard, or even that we are a tenant of Oakland Mills, or even what we do. But many of you are approaching, not you, obviously, and are approaching that age group where you might be considered a part of us at some point in life. Our organization actually is established to make 55 plus people able to live in community. We're not a village like you would see a village like this, but we are a community of people. We're helping people avoid loneliness, which is a very, very hard and fast reality for people as we age in place. We want to stay in our homes as long as we can. In Oakland Mills, there are 16 members of the Village in Howard, as of my last count. So we really appreciate anything that you can spare us. We'd love to see the whole proposed amount. We understand the budgets are tough these days, so we're here to say thank you for anything that you're considering.
Thank you. Okay, that will conclude resident remarks. We're going to move on to new business, and the first item of new business is the summary of 2025 donation requests. So everyone has a summary spreadsheet and then a more detailed view. One quick correction on the summary spreadsheet, there's a request on the Oakland Mills High School PTSA line for 2,500. That's actually the Oakland Mills Middle School PTSA request. We did not receive a request from the Oakland Mills High School PTSA this year. And then that is correct in the larger packet. Regina, did you want to do anything to summarize?
Well,
add to it?
I would like to let you know that all of the names of the groups that you see in front of you, I sent you the entire package of requests. I know it was long, which is why we didn't print it out today, but I know everybody likes to kind of look at, it gives a full synopsis of what each group wanted to use their funding for. And then this summary just kind of is a brief of the basic of what they were looking to use for. Everybody had everything they needed. I didn't have to ask anybody for, any follow-up. And they all said, each group said if there was any questions that you had or needed any clarification, to please let them know, and they would be happy to respond.
Okay.
So.
Oh, and let me do my disclaimer that I've done for the past couple of years. I am the president of the Oakland Mills High School Fine Arts Boosters. So I recuse myself from the request. Other members of the board write the request. I don't actually see it till it comes in from here. I also recuse myself from talking about the amount in this room or voting on the amount in this room for the Fine Arts Boosters. But if you have questions about what the Fine Arts Boosters are doing or what's in the request, obviously I know what they're doing, so I'm happy to speak to that, but I'm not gonna weigh in on what the amount should be or anything like that. And I actually only saw what they put in the letter when Brigida sent it out to us. Okay, thank you.
And one thing I just noted in the summary.
Your question?
I was gonna say, we're not voting tonight then on the
No.
amounts, okay.
No,
I'm sorry, I didn't, I was just wanting
but
to
I
clarify.
always like to just share that before we start, because
Yeah.
Can she talk now?
No,
Yes.
no, I just wanted to clarify that on this sheet right there, it says 10,000 for fine arts boosters, but in the summary, for whatever reason, it said 1,100, but it's 10,000, so.
Oh, in the summer, in the outline, yeah. Oh, that's a big difference, yeah. I don't know what is going on with this.
So the thing to keep in mind, we should be voting on this at our next meeting. And I know we've had this for a while, so we can have some discussion tonight if there are thoughts, but we definitely need everyone to commit to reading these over and thinking about it over the next couple of weeks before we meet again. The thing to keep in mind is that when we adopted our budget, we adopted a budget that says we have a total of $5,000 in donations. We're taking all of this and we're figuring out, okay, now how do we distribute among those who requested? Potentially, if we're going to distribute something to all of them, $5,000. The other thing, and Dan, especially for you, because I know you're new to all of this. We do have a donation policy. So one of the things we do each year with our donation policy is as we get to our fourth quarter of our fiscal year, which is March, April, no, February, March, April. As we get to the end of that fourth quarter and we look to see where we are, financially and how the year has gone, we do reserve the right to amend and, add more to our donation bottom line. And then our procedure has been to take everyone who has requested from donations from us, review those again to see if we want to give them something additional, if we weren't able to meet their full request. And also at our discretion, put out a supplemental call for donations. So we don't make the people who already asked once ask again if we have money left at the end. But if we have enough money left, we might, go out and let other people come in and request in the spring. But there's no guarantee of that. So, as of right now, this is it, $5,000 kind of end of story until April.
So that explains why we have this April 1st, 25 line on the spreadsheet here. That was from this year. Was that like, did you guys do that at the end of fourth quarter?
We did.
Fiscal year? Okay, just confirming, because I looked at it and I was like, we did it for 25. Interesting. Okay.
No, why is it like that? It says 20.
Because we did,
Oh, okay, yeah.
we did one in April.
The supplemental.
Okay,
Yeah.
that is the something. Okay,
previous
yes,
one would have
yes.
been last fall, and then there was the.
Okay, for what? Yeah,
So,
yeah.
okay.
Brigida is the 4-1 is the column titled 4/1/2025 through fiscal year 25. That's the cumulative for everything we did in fiscal year 25.
I think it was the supplementary that we just talked about.
No, so this would have been when we did it last October.
Okay,
So that was FY 25, but
right.
it was in 2024. And this was what we did in April, which was still FY 25, but we did it in April of 2025.
Right, so last year we looked at the finances and we said, let's put another
10,000.
5,000 in, so we did a
Got
total
it.
of 10,000
Thank you.
last year.
Right, okay,
The
fantastic.
2 years before that, we did not, because I think the year before that is the year that the facility was closed for a while, so we were just break even that year.
Yep,
And then, yeah,
Just curious, Mike.
sure.
Trying to read.
Any other questions, comments, thoughts so far, or does everyone just want to take it back with them and think about distributions in 2 weeks?
I was trying to come up with distributions before, although I'm glad I get an extra 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That
tough
helps.
decision. It is tough decisions.
We don't know what it's gonna look like in 2 weeks. Your food pantry might change or grow, depending on it. That's good to put it.
Well, no, some tough decisions to like,
Just
figure
how
out.
fast do we get these funds out when we make decisions? In the new year? Or,
In November.
Yeah, we
Gotcha.
basically vote, yeah, we'll get the right checks in November, yeah.
gotcha, because the one thing that's sitting on my mind is obviously, people are gonna need food if SNAP ends on Saturday, so. Depending on how that happens, it changes my opinion on things, this is
Mhm.
trying to do anything we can to help.
It's a good point.
If it's fair. Yay. Probably won't fit. Okay.
Yeah, there's not before November facing.
Okay, any
I had no other comments.
any questions, comments? Okay,
Yep, I'm good.
all right, next up. Check. This is all Brigida. Present for review, the election monitoring committee 2026 election guidelines draft and 2026 election calendars. And I'm so happy we're doing this in October.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Right.
Hey there.
No, I
Um,
mean that. I've been saying for years, let's start earlier,
Yeah,
let's start
got
earlier.
to.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
so, yeah,
We're gonna have.
we need to be all ready for them, and then if we don't, we don't, but.
Don't we need like people to have an election? Don't just let the first 7 in? Isn't that how I ended up being? I just signed up.
Yes,
Yeah.
or we need a competitive Columbia council.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
a more realistic one.
Yeah, that's right, that's right,
We're just trying to like 7 people on the board.
yeah. Yeah, I think the Columbia Council, that was just like 2 or 3 years ago that there was a competitive race on that one, I think.
Was 2 years ago,
Okay,
Is that what Karen was doing?
yeah.
Because someone else said step, who is it before? Karen?
Ginny retired.
That would make sense, so then like, who's gonna succeed?
So you want me to go ahead?
Oh, yeah, we were just waiting for you to.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Okay, so first and foremost, we have had 5 people volunteer to be our election monitoring committee members for 2026. They do have to be voted on, so I'm presenting them to you. They are all Oakland Mills residents. They all are familiar with the election process. So that is the first piece of information that I would like to present. That one's pretty simple. The second one is the contested calendar. So what happens is we create 2 election calendars. One is if the election is contested, and one if the election is non-contested. One of the things to note I'll show it the non-contested in a second, but one thing to note is that on the non-contested calendar, I did take out the meet the candidates. Because I feel like, I just felt like last year, I don't know, the last 2 years we've had it and it hasn't really served the purpose that I thought it might. If we decide that maybe we want to have it this year, maybe we can add it back in. But I just felt like it didn't really serve the purpose for which it was necessarily intended. So definitely we'll have an election forum if it's a contested election. And I have listed it as a hybrid. Because I think that makes sure more people would attend, being that it would be hybrid. But that's the only change. And of course, we don't have the candidate information night for the Columbia Association as of yet, so that will be added once.
I have a suggestion to consider for non-contested.
Okay,
Instead of scheduling a separate meet the candidates night, what if we just put like 20 minutes or so on the agenda of the first board meeting after the applications are due to meet the candidates
okay.
in a non-contested?
Mhm,
Yeah, I don't think so either.
mhm. Good idea.
Look at that, that's not.
Good idea.
That's good.
Mhm.
Efficiency. you know.
We're already here, the building's open, people know the time and date of our meetings, you know?
Good idea.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, everything else, other than obviously the dates, are the same, and I looked through them and Amy looked through them, so.
Hopefully we got some.
Hopefully we have all the right dates.
What's this, Smarch? I'm
Yeah,
kidding,
no,
it's from The Simpsons.
What?
It's from the systems, the school system ordered the cheap calendars and they had Smarch.
I got it about 7:12.
Non-contested. So basically, this is, I'm sharing this now. And I will also be convening the, let me start over again, for you to review. Next meeting, we probably won't go back to this, no, but well, sorry, it has been that kind of day. I'm gonna take a breath.
Oh, thanks.
Okay, the election monitoring committee will need to be voted on at the next meeting. That's the first step. So I presented to you today.
Perfect.
The other items will have to be reviewed not only by you, but also by the election monitoring committee, as that's the capacity that they serve in.
Yes.
So once they have reviewed it, any changes that they would propose or anything that would need to be made would be made, and it would be sent out again as an old business, hoping that at that point it would be voted on. But as Jonathan said, I would like to, as I know he would like to have it all completed even before December, so when we come back after the holidays, we are all set with this and we don't have to be worrying about voting on election stuff. We'll just be ready to start the process.
Yes. Okay.
So let me ask everyone a quick question about that. Our board meeting on Tuesday, the 25th, that is the week of Thanksgiving. We
Mhm.
normally have been able to hold that meeting.
Mm-hmm.
But since we are smaller now and we don't have much margin, I just want to make sure everyone thinks they'll be available and in town for the meeting that week or virtual.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm good.
okay. Good, all right. That was my only concern I saw on the calendar was whether we will be able to vote on that day. Okay,
that's about.
And the last document is the election guidelines. And those are mostly dates
Mhm.
that were changed.
Mhm.
If you recall from last year, we did, the election monitoring committee added that statement about posting names of the candidates after they were certified.
Mhm.
One question I did have, which you don't have to answer tonight, and I'm gonna ask them too, is that just a policy that goes with our election information, or should it be included in a section in the election guidelines? So just a thought.
Mhm.
And I looked through them briefly to think of where it might fit, but not specifically. So if you think it should be included, I can certainly look deeper to see where it might be appropriate to include it.
I want to know what crazy person puts a staple in the bottom right corner.
Okay, well, I don't know what happened.
I picked this up. and- Why
I
can't-
told the
Oh.
I put a staple on it, and I don't know how it got bottom of it.
Okay,
Unless you noticed
I
it. I
picked
have
this
no
up, it's
idea.
like, why can't I turn the oh, I have to turn them this way.
Yeah, it was really annoying, but I'm sorry.
I have no comment.
That's right. That's my only concern so far with that.
It is special.
Yeah,
That's right.
I motion that we staple at the top left.
Well, I was using as kind of a fan here, going like that. Is that, let's go.
So I believe that was all I had to present for you to have and to look at. It was a lot of documents, a lot of information. But again, it's early October, so we have,
Yes. Thank you.
Mhm.
you are welcome.
All right, board chair report. So I have something tonight.
It's on the bottom of your packet. That's what Jonathan's
I
gonna be talking about.
apologize. This is not in the packet because I literally came home and wrote this as I ate dinner.
Hmm.
So obviously, I monitor the capital improvement plan and budget for the school system and clearly Oakland Mills Middle School is underway and, Oakland Mills High School is still holding where it is, but there's been a lot of, I'll just say there's been a lot of chatter about Oakland Mills High School and whether it really belongs where it should be. And there's a lot of pressure on some members of the Board of Education for their past support of getting the Oakland Mills High School renovation done in fiscal 27. And I think I talked about this maybe at the last meeting or 2 meetings ago, and I said, look, we're in a place where we probably just lay low for now. I also emailed all of you about a statement that was expected that hasn't happened, and I don't know if it will. So, kind of the tide has been building a bit. And I truly don't even know what the risk is at this point. Um, what primarily concerns me is actually referenced in this letter, and I'll read the things you don't all have to read while I speak, because I'm going to ask that we, kind of take an emergency action if we want to, and send this in as feedback to the Board of Education with copies to our county leadership before they hold their next meeting next week, where others are expected to speak. Uh, but basically, as you know, Oakland Mills High School has been in need of a lot for a lot of years.
Mhm.
And the state does have a new way of assessing school buildings and kind of ranking them on what, should be an objective index, and it very well may be. I haven't scientifically evaluated it. The interesting thing with Oakland Mills, though, is, schools are evaluated on a cycle, and it's like a quarter of the schools are evaluated every year. As you know, Oakland Mills has been closed for the past 2 summers because they've had this emergency HVAC repair thing going on, which is really just meant to tide it over till the building can be renovated, because the system was dying. It's, the school has mold and weird fluctuations in temperatures and lots of other stuff going on. And the Gilbert assessment of the building back in, I think, 2017 or so, said then that the project should have been done in 2009, and it had gotten to the point where the building could no longer provide a conducive learning environment. Well, we're going to come up on 10 years since then, because this isn't supposed to start till fiscal 27. So this truly is a patch, and there's some of this in the letter. Um, I think we are at the point where we should probably go back on the record and, say something about the real life experience in that building, and that these, temporary repairs maybe aren't even all they've, um, you know, all they're meant to be. Because my concern is it had this odd out of cycle reassessment while these repairs were happening. And now when they rank all the buildings, Oakland Mills doesn't look like it's in, the same need as actually even some newer buildings. And I think it's for a couple of reasons. One is, I think, first of all, it's had these emergency repairs. So, right now it looks like things are fixed, things have been done. It's not as dire, but they're not meant to last forever. Two, I actually do think there's potentially a flaw in that methodology. So you take a building like Oakland Mill. Well, actually, take a building like Stevens Forest. 12, 13 years ago, Stevens Forest got an addition. And as part of getting that addition, the rest of the old building got completely gutted and renovated. The outside walls were all that was standing. Everything else got torn out, redone. And that's happened at other facilities. That's what they did at Hammond. Talbot Springs, of course, they tore down, but that's what they did at Hammond. Well, back the last time Oakland Mills High got significant work, it got what's called the new addition on the back, even though it's 20 some years old now. When they did that, they did not do a full renovation of the rest of the building. They just stuck something on the back, which is very obvious because it looks different. The bricks are different. Everything about it is different. And what the other thing I fear is happening is when the state comes in and assesses the whole building, well, they're looking at the overall condition. So you've got a chunk of the building that's 20 years old, and then you have another chunk of the building that's 52 years old. The 52-year-old core part of the building has never had a systemic renovation. And I'm concerned that when you look at the whole building, the newer part kind of drags drags the overall score up. Whereas if you have maybe a newer, overall, similar building to Oakland Mills, but doesn't have a new addition, they might score a little worse because they don't have something on the back kind of dragging up. But the fact of the matter is, that doesn't do much for, the gym, the auditorium, all the classrooms, the office, everything that's in the old part of the building. Nor can you take 1,500 students and, 100 and some faculty and stuff them all in the 20-year-old section of the building. So, I say that from what I can tell, these criteria are pretty objective, but statistics, right?
Mhm.
you can cut things various ways and you can come up with different results. And I'm concerned that's what it is. So what I propose doing is writing a letter, into the superintendent and the members of the board, because we have been fairly quiet recently because there hasn't really been any calls to come in and, like we were before, because we've been holding steady as the third project to be done. So I mean, I literally put this together, tonight based on some other information I was seeing, knowing that there's a meeting coming up next Thursday. So I'll just go, I can read it quick. Dear Superintendent Barnes and members of the Board of Education, the Oakland Mills Community Association and the greater Oakland Mills School community have taken comfort in the prioritization of Oakland Mills High School renovations after years of deferral and hours of firsthand testimony from teachers and students about conditions within the building. We trust that its place in the priority order will be maintained to ensure that a building described in an independent assessment nearly 10 years ago as unable to provide a conducive learning environment to both students and staff will be renovated. In the past couple of years, portions of the school, including science rooms and the media center, have been closed due to mold growth. For one day, the entire school was closed due to a pipe break. The auditorium temporarily closed when raw sewage flowed into it. This is the experience students and teachers have in the building. Not only is it not conducive to learning, it's prohibitive to learning when key rooms or the whole building must close. Over the past 2 summers, the building has been closed for emergency HVAC repairs. Our understanding is these repairs are meant to keep a system going for a few more years until there can be a full renovation. That system was described in the assessment referenced above as, when originally deferred, this was a major HVAC renovation project. However, it has been 9 years since the project was deferred. Current conditions at the school now require a full renovation. It's not practical and cost-effective to maintain the system any longer. Due to the fact that the system is old, obsolete, and continues to be problematic, we are unable to provide a conducive learning environment to both the students and staff. That 9 years of deferral is now 16 years and counting. These emergency repairs, while potentially helpful, have not fixed all the problems. A few weeks ago, when the weather was still warm, there was a mechanical failure in the system that has been under repair for 2 summers. The band orchestra room dropped to the 50s, and the teachers were worried the string instruments would crack. Meanwhile, another classroom hit 88 degrees, but you don't need us to tell you that. You can verify it from central office because part of the emergency repair was to put monitoring devices in each room. You no longer have to rely on anecdotal information about the extremes in the building. We also noted that OMHS was reassessed by the state out of cycle during the emergency repairs. While these repairs were desperately needed to keep the building habitable until it can be renovated, we hope this temporary fix to an ancient system followed by an out-of-cycle reassessment hasn't produced a misleading facility score for the building. The bottom line is that the core of the building opened in 1973 and has never in its history had a full systemic renovation. Every high school opened before OMHS has either had a full systemic renovation or replacement. A high school opened after OMHS has also had a full systemic renovation. It has been time to take care of OMHS for years, as evidenced by the assessment done in the mid-2010s. We can't push this out any longer. Sincerely, the Oakland Mills Community Association Board of Directors, with a copy to the county executive, the council, and our Team 13 delegation.
Excellent. And you got the,
So I'm guessing that would be sent to like the Maryland Board of Education or whoever.
Howard County.
Oh.
County Board of
Oh,
Education.
Howard, is Howard County the one that lower?
Howard County decides the prioritization.
Okay,
But the reason for copying it to our state delegation is it's the state that actually assesses the buildings.
okay.
Basically, to report
Okay.
them like, please don't use your out of cycle.
Yeah.
Like,
Why did they do that?
Also go in on them, yeah.
Why do they do that?
Yeah, why did they have a?
I've heard rumors, but until I know for sure, I'm not going to say.
Not on the record.
Yeah.
One thing that might help the letter, if you knew like what month those specific incidents that you mentioned, like the sewage and the wherever, and that like you had any this was, March of 2020 or.
Yeah,
whatever,
it's
so-
all in the past 2 school years, but
Oh, really?
I don't know if I could find the exact
I
months.
was asked my wife because she was working there. So
Yeah.
Really? She probably has that committed to memory.
And the 88/59 degree day was just a couple of weeks ago. It was in September.
Oh,
So,
I can't remember the exact date. It was on a Friday because I worked the football game that night, but I can't remember which football game it was that I worked.
oh,
And the reason I found out is I went into the band room and it was a hot, humid night and it felt great in there. And I actually said something and they said to me, oh, no, 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 no. This is not good. I'm like, what? They said, no, 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 no. This room is in the 50s. Like, we are worried the
good.
cellos are going to crack. They need to come fix this.
Okay.
And I said, oh my gosh, how did that happen? And apparently something up in the system got stuck open in one wing and closed in another. So
Mhm.
one part of the building was in the 50s and another part of the building was in the high 80s.
Oh,
Yeah,
we have that September of this year.
yeah, that was September. And like I said, they can look it up because if you go in there now, every room has this digital thing on the wall that shows the temperature and like the CO2 concentration and a few other things. And it's all supposed to go back to central office to alert them there's a problem. Why it didn't get action that day when it was 50s in one part and 80s in the other, I have no idea, but they actually have empirical data now. They don't have to rely on people just saying,
Hopefully the data got back to them. And
Yeah.
like, if there was a problem with Wi-Fi, maybe it didn't.
Yeah.
But, which.
we won't talk about Wi-Fi in the building.
Well, maybe it didn't get back to
Yeah.
them then.
Are we gonna review that before you send it, or are you planning on sending this as soon as possible? Meeting next week?
I mean, there's the meeting happens before we meet again, so this is why I basically I literally sent this to Brigitte at 6:30 and said, can you print this emergency? And that's why I just read it aloud to you, but yeah, I mean, take it home, take a look, give me some feedback over email, but I'd like to, and I can email it to everyone, I would like to get it out as soon as possible,
Mhm.
because the other thing we do is we put it out to the community, let them know what's going on, so that if they want to send testimony and they can as well. Because basically what's happening now is they're hearing a lot from others, many of whom are saying, no Oakland Mills, no Oakland Mills, and they're not really hearing anything from us because we're sitting where we wanted to be. And one thing we have always not done, and I strongly say we continue not to do, is we never go in and talk about other schools or say, no, don't do that, don't do
Mhm.
this. We just advocate for our own.
This way, make immediate edits of that.
What was that?
We don't talk about Bruno, no.
No. And so far, that's worked well for us, given Talbot Springs and Oakland Mills Middle.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good way to go.
Mhm. So Jonathan, do we need to vote on this tonight?
Or we can do it by email if you want some
Okay.
time, just to be able to, look at it. Like, for example, I need to fix the spelling of Calvin Ball's
I
name.
did fix it on.
Okay.
Coffee.
I can hit justify on everything. I like a nice. I don't know if that's, you do that for letters or not. I'm just using everything in science, right?
Justify, no,
You don't do that?
no.
I don't like that
rabbit-
because
the
then
red
it stretches the short lines and they look funny.
Yeah,
I like it. Oh, lines out. Again, I'm biased.
that's good for like fiction printing, but not for letters and stuff.
Everything I've ever written had to be justified. So when I don't see it like that, it gives me PTSD. That's all. That's it though. You can write. Yeah.
I mean, if you're comfortable now, I mean, like, we can do this verbally or you
Yep.
take it home and think about it. Like I said, I put this together as quickly as I could after I was
Mhm.
hearing some things, and there's a meeting between now and our next meeting, so I figured we should get on the record sooner rather than later.
I agree, 100%.
One thing I have is I think I found that there's an extra quotation mark or black in the second one. There's two.
Yes.
On that middle one. So
Good catch.
other than that,
Yes, I'll mark that. I can fix that.
I'll keep glazing over it while we're doing numbers.
Okay.
And then I'll give you any other notes. But other than that, I
Okay.
would say full set.
Okay, the first draft I sent to Brigitte was missing the end of the first sentence of the first paragraph because I was
So you're like eating a
I'm
sandwich.
like, don't print this one, print another. Yeah, I was literally sitting like with a fork in one hand doing one-handed typing.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's my life.
Yep, get through it on the keyboard.
Mhm. Other than that, I don't believe I have anything else to report from board chair perspective tonight, unless there are any
Education chair.
questions from me. It's not even listed because when Brigitte put together the agenda, I wasn't I was still in the lay low posture.
Huh? Well, then we'll wrap this together.
Mhm.
Is Karen?
No,
Karen,
it's not there.
sent out an email this afternoon with, her update, but you also have a printed copy of it. She had another meeting that she didn't realize they were on the same night, so she is not here.
Yeah.
It's the email though.
It's under Brittany, it's actually, there's Brittany's name on the top, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
still focused on that AAA credit rating.
Wonder why.
Mhm.
To borrow. Oh, interesting, assessing CA's compliance with ADA standards, we have a pool that doesn't, we know that. And some neighborhood centers, okay. So I would say if anyone has any questions for Karen, just shoot an email her way. And just copy all so that we all, see the response. That'll be the equivalent of having her here so we can all hear what she has to say if we have questions for her. All right, I guess we're on to the village manager report. And that would be Brigitte.
Okay. Um. So, yeah, most of you, I'm assuming everybody who was able to attend RSVP, so we had our final head count yesterday for, the new resident volunteer dinner, which will take place on Monday. And we do have some new residents coming, so that's great to hear. We had our first Lively Arts, and I was a Lively Arts for little ones. I was not here, I was out of town, but Amy was here and she said they had a small but very interactive crowd and really had a good time. Our next one is not November 21st with Mr. John and friends. Amy has begun working on the holiday events and all that information will be coming out shortly. And then we have our last Jazz in the Mills concert of the year on Sunday, December 7th, and tickets are on sale. The FY27 Q2 financials, which we would normally be going over in November, will be delayed because our accountant is out of town for an extended period, but she has okayed it, as have I with CA, and they are fine getting it later. If you haven't seen it already, Danielle from CA has put out, and Amy included in the newsletter, for the tree plantings that she talked about in the community, and you can sign up. There's 2 dates and there's multiple times. It's on Sign Up Genius. Very easy process. I signed up today. We have finished our outdoor wedding season as of this past Saturday. We have some events, but all of them are inside. So next Monday, CA will be fixing our courtyard steps in the back that are very loose. So that's very good. And we had our annual walkthrough, myself and Ellen, with several CA staff people, including Josh, who's the CA facilities manager. So we walked through all of the facilities, which was really good. Always a good thing to do, and really talked about a lot of things, talked about a painting of the entire interior of the building, talked about renovating the kitchen and replacing some of the equipment in there, mostly the big gas stove that is my nightmare.
That's scary.
Yeah, I do not like that thing.
Yeah, the pilot lights always go on.
Yeah, it's, and I just don't like it, which is what I told them. We went to each of the neighborhood centers as well. And Talbot Springs they are going to look at as a possible, to see if they could maybe make some changes to it. We talked about a few different types of changes, and then if, it's presented and they'll bring it to us, obviously, and we like it, then they might go forth with a full architectural rendering of it. So that's kind of in the works to. It's a really old building, as you mentioned, it's not ADA compliant, but we talked about all of that and just really think that it's a building that could be well utilized in its location with some big adjustments to it. And lastly, in your pile, you have the office holiday calendar. And every year I present this to you for you to kind of look over and just make sure that it's okay.
I think every year I ask you, do you just need us to nod at you, or do you need us to vote? I think we just nod at
I
you.
think you just nod at me.
Bill's nodding.
I'm nodding for the whole board. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here we go.
It's nothing, there's no additional days or anything.
Yeah.
Last year we added a day because we included Juneteenth,
Mhm.
and so I just did the same thing.
August holidays for yourself?
I know, you can make them up, but at some points it doesn't look okay when you do, so.
I said the agenda will need a fight for. We need more August holidays for more excuses to have.
I agree.
There's
Yeah.
there's a week
That's-
after.
But we need like one at the beginning of August, because like we have July 4th, it's like, right there, like beginning of July, and there's such a long gap, perfect summer with nothing in the middle. We
Well,
need
there's,
one more day.
you know,
wrong.
at the beginning of the year, you
Holiday.
have from New Year's Day to like Memorial Day.
Yeah.
Although I guess we,
But those are-
the Martin Luther King we have, but
I still
Wow.
think we need another
Yeah, yeah.
summer holiday. I'll run on this agenda.
I agree with you. I've said that for years.
What if people
agree,
think
too.
it could be another day on real things? That's the most American.
And that's,
I need to think, what's something big in August?
August.
National.
Well, I settle for a day. Let's go for a month.
The whole month?
Let's
Yeah,
talk.
We'll
Yeah, I
take
would agree
holiday
with
like
that.
in Europe, yeah, yeah.
I'm not getting much opposition to that one. Even when they're in session, they're still off.
Whatever it is, it's fine.
All right, everyone's nodding, Brigida. I
Okay.
think we're good.
We're good.
Everybody-
Holiday.
I can make it official.
I don't know if they're nodding or nodding off, but everyone. Yeah.
Well, that's all I.
Same
have,
difference.
Yeah.
Unless somebody had a question, but.
No question.
All right, thank you. This is very efficient today. Committee reports. Mr. Andrew, architecture.
yeah, so last year I had done an inventory at the end of the year of like all the applications,
Mhm.
although I realized that today is like exactly halfway through the
Mhm.
fiscal year, so I
Mhm.
did.
Mhm.
And I thought it would be better to break them up into like do a inventory every 6 months or so.
Cool.
So I gonna go through this. So over this first 6 months of the fiscal year, the Resident Architecture Committee has received and reviewed 125 applications. The highest month was August, which we had 30 applications. The lowest month was May, which we had 15 applications. Interestingly enough, last year, May was the highest month for the whole year. We had 28 applications last May. I'm not sure why. There was a drop off, but there was. And so I'm going to go through and kind of tell all of the applications kind of from the most common all the way down to the least common. So similar to last year, removing or replacing a dying or decaying tree was the most popular application. There were 16 applications of those. And then there was an additional application for planting a new tree. There were 10 applications for replacing or painting siding. There was 10 applications for installing or replacing windows, including frame and or trim. There was 10 applications for installing solar panels. There were 9 applications for installing, repairing, or replacing a deck. And then there were 4 applications for painting, extending, or removing a deck. There were 9 applications for replacing or painting a front or back door, including its trim and side lights if necessary. There were 9 applications for installing or replacing a fence, and 1 application for installing deer fencing. There was 9 applications for installing or replacing a patio. There was 8 applications for installing or replacing a shed. There were 7 applications for replacing a roof. 6 applications for installing or replacing hand railing. 5 applications for replacing or extending a driveway. 5 applications for installing a retaining wall. 4 applications for replacing or repainting gutters and downspouts and possibly including eaves and fascia. 3 applications for installing or replacing outdoor lighting. 3 applications for installing a hot tub. 3 applications for adding a canopy or awning or pergola. 2 applications for installing or adding a gazebo. 2 applications for installing or extending garden or mulch beds, and then 1 application for adding a movable planter box or bed. There was 2 applications for an in-home business. 2 applications for installing yard drainage or channeling for water drainage. And then the following applications or themes each had 1 application. Installing or extending or replacing a walkway or steps, painting of shutters, application for constructing a major addition, an application for adding or installing a privacy wall, another application for moving a privacy wall, an application for installing a pool, 1 for adding or installing a children's play set such as slide and swing, an application for installing a skylight, 1 for installing a fire pit, 1 for installing a flagpole, and then 1 for adding a small trellis. If you don't know what a trellis is, it's like kind of like wooden fencing that ivy can grow up. And and then most of the items were in the same rate as what we got last year, but there were some changes. For instance, there was a large increase in installing or replacing hand railings. All of last year, we had just 3 applications, but in the first half of this year, we've had 6 applications. Similarly, last year, for driveways, last year we had 2 applications for replacing or extending a driveway, whereas the first half of this year, we've had 5 of those applications already. Not 100% sure why the increase, but I'm guessing it might be just contagious. Like if you see your neighbors getting a driveway, or you realize, oh, I have to also do that, and theirs looks good, and maybe let me ask who did their driveway, and then it kind of they just do it anyway. And then there was a large drop off in applications for like replacing or extending a walkway. Last year we had 11 applications for that, whereas the first half of this year just had 1 application. My guess is it was probably the opposite of that. So last year it was maybe contagious to get a walkway, and so now this year, like no one needs a walkway anymore. And then there was another one installing solar panels. All of last year, we had 5 applications, whereas just the first half of this year, we've already had 10 applications for solar panels. But there is a reason for the federal tax credit for solar panels is expiring on December 31st. So people want to get it in before that. If you are thinking of installing solar panels, I guess make an order before December 31st when the federal tax credit runs out. So, and that is the report of an inventory.
Wow,
Very
cool,
thorough.
cool. Thank you. That is comprehensive. I had the exact same thought when you said May is the low month. I thought, That's usually, that's spring when everyone's thinking about the
Mhm.
outside of their house. That's weird.
Yeah.
Also when houses turn over, so you want to make repairs,
Mhm.
they need to sell,
Mhm.
et cetera.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Any questions for Andrew?
Thanks for all the
I think
work.
everything was answered.
Yeah. So you're welcome.
I was trying to keep, I'm like, why am I, you can just send it to me. I'm like, I stopped writing that for a while. Thank you. Okay, Bill, housing?
Okay, tomorrow night we'll have a housing committee meeting. And the focus will be to do a SWOT analysis,
Different.
strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats analysis on all housing in Oak Mills, to kind of get a fresh look at how people see that. I asked people to put out a special email, well, Brigitte put out a special email, I wrote a few lines for it. And I asked people who plan to come to send me an email, and we've got probably 10 to 12, which is very good. So I'm looking forward to that. And tomorrow, let's see, working on the issue of the HOA infrastructure help from the county. There was a bill passed last year by the Maryland legislature, which enables all the local jurisdictions to set up a grant process and program whereby property tax money can be used for infrastructure repairs in HOAs. And I'm attending a meeting on that tomorrow morning. Hopefully we can get a bill in the county council that would make that happen. So that's it for housing.
Okay, any questions for Bill? All right. Bill,
Open
Public
space.
space.
Open space.
oh no, open space. I
Yeah.
just read the right, yeah, Bill, open space.
And I did schedule an open space committee meeting, what was it, 2 Wednesdays ago, and nobody came. So I realized, okay, I'm gonna have to do a special email to get people to that. So I applied that knowledge to the housing committee meeting. We got takers. So I've got to get together with Amy, set dates, and do a special email for open space committee meeting. And basically what the focus of that would be to look at all of open space in Oakland Mills and do an evaluation of it, SWOT analysis, what works, what doesn't work, et cetera. And what kinds of plans would we need for open space for the next 20, 30 years? How can, a big focus would be, how can we enhance open space so that we can get more people using it more of the time? And so hopefully I'll get that done in sometime in November. And that's it for open space.
All right, thank you. Now, public space, so Dr. Bill.
Well, thank you. Mine will be relatively short because I'll admit a lot of my free time is trying to seek gainful employment. So
That seems like a priority.
it is. But during that period of time, I also was able to make a connection with one of the Howard County Parks employees who lives in the caretaker house at the Blandair Estate. We just happened to do a job there, so I made a personal connection from him. So he said contact him once a month. He'll give me updates on everything that's happening there. It was kind of cool to just take a plug where we're having stuff. So they're still doing work on the actual restoration of all the old, we'll describe it as the slave house and the various other buildings that were on the property. They're definitely still a few years out before any of that happens. As far as everything that's going on 108, I have been speaking with as many residents in the area as I can, just because, I work over there, so I get the opportunity to talk to the business people and whatnot. Everyone seems in favor of it. I'm putting together what I can for that, but I also need to try and get a job. And at least I have some interviews, so unrelated to that, I'm working on not being poor.
That's right.
That's an important one for me. That's all I got. I wish I had more, but I have to.
Thank you. All right, Paulette, tenant?
Hi, no, I don't have anything. Sorry, I got stuck.
No problem, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, I think we're on to the bulletin board. Amy, are you prepared to go first?
Yes, I have nothing.
Okay, Brigitte,
I don't think I have anything either.
Bill,
Nothing?
I said enough. Andrew,
Oh, nothing for me.
Dr. Dan?
I will actually say something.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm sure we've all been following everything that's been happening with the federal government as well as SNAP benefits in the area. And I just kind of want to put it out there that we need to try and redouble whatever efforts we can to get food to people who need food. Because ultimately, one of the entire reasons I ever felt like doing anything government related was because I thought kids going hungry was the dumbest thing I'd ever seen for a country that produces the most food of just about anywhere in the world. So if there's, obviously, we'll be voting next week to determine how we allocate money, but if the SNAP situation has not been fixed, I think that we should do whatever we can to make sure that people and kids specifically in the Oakland Mills community do not go hungry. So I'm doing what I can to donate to the Oakland Mills food pantry through the high school. I would encourage others to do the same. They've got some good people over there. My wife works with a lot of people who actually run the program. Just try and help out. So we don't fall into complete chaos. I'm not excited about the future, but do what we can.
Yeah, you do what you can, that's right.
Mhm.
Control what you can
Yes.
control.
Thank you. Paulette, anything for bulletin board?
No, nothing.
All right, well,
Can
then.
I just say one more thing? Sorry.
It was so close.
I know, but I wanted to piggyback on what Dan just said. So, if you would be interested in coming in and meeting with me to kind of brainstorm things that we can do and how we can help organize or whatever, I'm 100% on board. And, last week, sorry, Amy, I didn't mean to have my back to you. Both Amy and I collected a bunch of resources to include in the e-news and found a whole pamphlet on pantries in the all over, which I thought was great. And I also sat in on a coalition meeting where they were talking about one of the major concerns was that we have all these pantries, but everybody's trying to give to all the pantries and you can't. So how do we consolidate, not taking away from all the areas that need it, but how do we get the resources to all of the groups so it hits all of the areas? So like I said, if you want to sit down and brainstorm and meet, and that's something that I'm very passionate about. I used to run the Blessings in the Backpack program, so I'm totally want to put energy to that as well, and would be happy to brainstorm and help in any way with you, your thoughts.
Of course. Once we're after this, let's figure something out
Okay,
before I fall asleep. So yeah.
so sorry, I just,
No.
since he brought that up.
Oh. Oh, and by the way, I bumped into Ms. McRae at the high school after you sent that note, so I don't know if she's gotten back to you, but she definitely
Oh,
wants to
good.
have the pantry included in that.
Oh, good, good. Good, good.
Okay, well, I think with that, we are adjourned. Thank you all very much.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.